So I wasn't 100% sure what was going to happen here, but it turns out it's this beautiful old wooden floor. I was concerned it was probably going to be concrete, but it's absolutely not. And I totally look forward to refinishing it and leaving it just like it is. It'll be lovely. Very excited for that. Okay, yes, the rotten one needs to be replaced, but as a general whole. Next question. What's under this floor? Now to start on the other side. All that for just half a room. So I'm hopeful underneath this floor is more wood, but I've been known to be wrong. And I'm also an optimist, so I sort of want it to be wood. Chances are it's not wood. Okay, moment of truth. What's under it? Ah, concrete. Another thing that looks suspiciously like asbestos, because it looks just like that other thing from the attic. So I'm going to disregard or discard this in the same way. So this is what YouTube has brought me to. Making videos for people to watch of me sweeping. But I do watch like power washing videos and like lawn yard maintenance videos. So like maybe this is for somebody. So that's the other side of the room done. So this is what will be my office, hopefully. So top floor done, ground floor, well, not even ground floor, first floor. And then there's still ground floor down here that's not completely cleaned out and all that. But so a little 3-floor office, clean dish, first round of cleaning, we'll call it. There you go. Nice day.
So today will be a low impact day. Not a lot of like heavy lifting or anything. I have been taking out all these boards out of the ceilings and the walls and everything, and they're all pretty good. I could either reuse them in the house at some point, or I could reuse them in an art project or some sort of thing that I produce. But in order to do that, I have to take all the nails out. I thought about buying one of those like nail remover guns, and very hard to find around here. So I didn't do it. But probably will invest in one at some point. Because these are not the only boards that I have to do this to. They're just the boards I have to do it to today. Are there better, more efficient ways to do this than on my lap? Absolutely. But what I really like about this is that I can sit down for this. Yes, I could probably pull that table over here, but I don't mind it on my lap. One board done. For some strange reason, I have a very fond memory of my father teaching me how to use a crowbar, where he taught me about this one's for leverage, and then this little opening here is for sort of longer screws, or nails, more than screws, but mostly nails. And every time I use a crowbar, I sort of think about that. I don't remember what we were doing, why he taught it to me, but it's sort of interesting, that sense memory of a tool and somebody showing it to you for the first time and the impact that has on you. Ow! It was inevitable. Remember the things that has happened to me over the time of being an expat? Specifically because of the UAE, not necessarily because of the Czech Republic, is I am more nervous when I was, I'm not going to say anything about anybody else. When I was an expat living in the United Arab Emirates, I felt that my job and my livelihood and, for all practical purposes, my freedom oh goodness, was constantly in jeopardy. That if I said the wrong thing to the wrong person, I could be, I don't know, thrown in prison, deported, killed, whatever they wanted. It was their kingdom. And that sensibility of being at the mercy of, or being at the will of, or whatever you want to sort of call it, was drilled into me in the UAE to an extent. I mean, I had friends who were threatened with death, like somebody who was actually threatened to be killed, an expat in the UAE by a UAE national. I have a friend that was thrown in prison and deported from the UAE for a social media post. And so it sort of put this, no pun intended, but fear of God in me, to sort of keep my head down a little bit, because if they just for any reason decided they didn't want me there anymore, they could just be like, nope, you're out. And that's still, that fear has continued on with me to this day. I mean, I still, to a certain extent, believe that the United Arab Emirates is like monitoring me just because they can, not for any particular reason. But how that then translates here is that I'm sort of, I take the position of I'm a guest here. And I should not try to do anything intentionally to piss off my host. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but that's the way I'm doing it. That's the way I feel. So I try my best to acclimate and tolerate and accept, but there are certain things that I'm just like, you kidding me? Not breaking any laws, not trying to like speed horribly, these kinds of just like simple things, but it kind of gets under your skin at a certain point, because because I grew up in the United States. And in the United States, we have the freedom to do whatever the heck we want to do, within laws and morals and ethics. But morals and ethics are kind of out of the issue these days. And the truth is even questionable these days, but that's a whole different. Politics is something I choose sort of not to get into too much. Obviously, I'm liberal. Or maybe that's not obvious, but I'm liberal. I was raised outside of Washington, D.C., so I sort of was around a lot of politics and political people throughout my youth. My parents were liberal. I don't know what their parents... Well, I know my mother's father was Republican, but he was a scientist. So that kind of makes sense. But I grew up around politics, and so I just don't have any interest in it. In the end, all I can do is basically the equivalent of my civic duty. Unless I want to stand up and run for office, which I do not. Point being, is there is some psychological impact to being an expat that people don't often talk about, which is that versus, we'll just say your home country, because you could be an expat from anywhere to anywhere, versus your home country to wherever you choose to reside. You, as I say, you're sort of there at their, not necessarily at their mercy, but sort of at their mercy. You're there because they allow you to be there. And if you do like if I did something wrong in the US, I'd be thrown in jail or prison or whatever, and I get out and I just keep going on with my life. If I do something wrong here, I have to leave. I will be probably sent away from the country and my life here, and possibly potentially not be able to return. That's different. That's very different. So let's hope that doesn't happen. I have also mellowed out in my old age. I'm joking, I'm not that old, but I certainly have mellowed out since my 20s and 30s. In my 20s and 30s, I was very much like Rage Against the Machine. Screw the system. It's not the word I did use, but trying to make this family friendly. Not sure exactly where I was going with that, but that's where I go. That's where I got. The other reason why I'm doing, sorry, change of topic. The other reason why I'm doing this today is because yesterday I stepped on a nail up here and I was just like, I gotta get rid of these nails. And when I say stepped on, I mean like full on in my foot, not just like, ooh, I feel a nail. Like it actually went in my foot. And that sucks. Yeah, another reason why I'm holding on to all this lumber beside the creative ideas and household ideas and stuff is basically everything's getting more expensive, including lumber. So anytime I can not have to buy lumber and can reuse some lumber from here to either work on the house or do a project will save me a huge hassle. I'm aware of economics though, and I'm aware that, you know, in the end I will then have to still buy the more expensive stuff later. But anything I can do to save a little money here and there would be, you know, greatly appreciated. And you could say it's also like good for the environment and all that. But I also, in addition, I like the idea of sort of putting back the history of the house a little bit, back into the house. So all of these things that, well, some of these planks that might have been here since 1907, it would kind of suck to remove them. And so sort of like the idea of putting some of them back if necessary. So I was thinking, I've been talking a lot about past and memories and things like this. But I am also very much an optimist on the future, devoid of the current state of the world. But my future, you know, the things I can control, my family, my career, I do believe that there are people that will be interested in this this channel, the content that we're making, the life experiences and so on, but also the things I'll be making, because I'm very much looking forward to producing all kinds of creative things from everything that I found on this property, because some of the things are just bonkers, but some of them are really quite cool, and I look forward to elevating them in some way to give them a new life. Yeah, I've always been an optimist in many ways. I'm not like an optimist like, ooh, life is great and all that. Like, no, I'm not that.
I'm what I call a pessimistic optimist. I know that sounds weird. Or a realistic optimist, let's say. Like, I hope that humanity and the world is better than it really is. So I'm optimistic like that, but I'm also realistic in that I know we're probably not going to get there. I've been watching lots of things about AI and all this, and boy, that's just doom and gloom. But the optimist in me very much hopes for the best of us all. Hopes for success in all of our personal interests and endeavors. Don't know who did this paint job, but it's quite fascinating. Why? On a board that's inside of a ceiling, they did that. I mean, I've got to have a certain amount of faith, because if I didn't, then why would I make content? Like, if I didn't have faith that somebody would be interested in, I don't know, whatever it is that we're doing here, then it'd be very bad. That'd be a big waste of time. But back to some of my memories and past things, and like why I'm thinking a lot about a lot of those things is because A, I've had a lot of loss recently, like comparatively over my life, and B, because I'm a new dad. So the balance of that, of the loss of my parent, my father, and my brother, and so my sibling, paired with being a new dad, has made me think about a lot of the experiences that I had as a child, and whether or not I want my child to have those, because some of them, not all of them are good, some are bad. So it's like, which of these are worth continuing, let's say. Family traditions, some of them should end. And some of them should be continued. One that for certain my wife will never think to do is matzo ball soup. Yeah, matzo ball soup, it was something that my parents served to me as a kid on cold winter days. And for those of you wondering, no, we are not Jewish. My grandmother, my father's mother, was Jewish. And I guess she converted. So she used to make matzo ball soup for my father. And he, in turn, then did it for me. And I love, just to be clear, it's not like kosher matzo ball soup. It's a beef bouillon, nutmeg. If you all want, I can share my recipe. It's fine. Tell me in the comments you want my matzo ball soup recipe that involves beef bouillon, tomatoes, and nutmeg. I'm not saying it's for everybody, and it's definitely not kosher, but we like it. So that's something I definitely want to serve to my daughter. So like, what are the traditions? What are the things that we all think about when we think of youth,
and family. It's an interesting sort of investigation. And as I said, going back to why I'm thinking about all these things, the balance of both loss and gain. So I've gained a daughter and a new perspective on things as a father. And pretty much simultaneously with losing my brother and father. So there's a lot to unpack there. That sounds like something from my therapist.